check out our last episodes. And thank you for joining me.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Land Racing Podcast, the first episode in 2026, along with the special guest here, Hunter Stafford.
How's it going?
Good. How are you doing, man?
Not too bad. Not too bad at all.
So, got to watch you the last few seasons and where you race. It's Butler, right?
Yeah, that's where I've raced mostly. Yeah.
Okay. So, tell more about yourself. Just a little bit more kind of general info.
So I live in Pioneer, Ohio. I'm 31 years old, and this will be my third full season coming up in 2026. I've raced a little bit here and there at Oakshade, Montpelier, Kokomo, and Butler. Started out in the street stocks and then moved up to mods this last season.
Okay. So, I know you when you raced. When I seen you, like you said, you raced Butler stuff. So did you always race modifieds, or did you race another class? I know you race modifieds now.
Yep. So I started out in street stocks, and then just this last season we switched over to mods, and I raced a full season in mods at Butler. And I did travel to Kokomo once, and then we raced down at Montpelier, I think 2 or 3 times towards the end of the season.
Okay. So, so I guess tell the viewers more about the Butler track, and it's kind of just like some info about Butler if they've never been there.
It's energetic. There's a lot that goes on there. They've definitely revamped the facilities. They've put a lot of money and time into making it more fan friendly. The track itself, the racing surface, it's high speed. There's a lot of speed there, and it changes throughout the night. It's to start out, it's pretty hammered down. They usually water it, and then towards the end of the night, it slicks off. So you gotta change your car quite a bit for a racer standpoint. But the fans, for the fans, it's energetic. There's multiple different classes of cars there that they get to watch. The sprint cars, which a lot of people like watching them, of course, because they're exciting to watch. And then you got your mods and your street stocks and 4-cylinders. So, there's usually quite a bit of cars there too, and they've got merchandise that they sell and stuff like that. Good food. But it's definitely something to check out for sure.
I would say, I think they had, what was it, the Mace Classic? I think it was where the big sprint guys come in. I remember going to that one for sure.
Yeah, they got the high limits that come there as well. So that's a pretty cool deal. And then they have a few races for the late models that come there, the Iron Man series, and then the Hell Tour comes there as well. But then they had the USACs there, and I see they have them on their schedule again for this year. So that's pretty cool, to add different classes like that.
So a little bit more about the USACs. I haven't seen those yet in person. I've seen the Mace Classic, but what's those entail, the USACs? I haven't really seen them in person yet.
I don't know. I didn't even go and watch them, to be honest with you. I watched them on Flow, but I don't even know what they are, to be honest with you. I don't have a clue what they got for motors in them. I just know they're non-wing. I'm not sure if they have 360s or what they have in them, but I guess that's just kind of separate series as far as non-wings go.
Yeah. I would say last year Wasn't it? I can't think of his name, but McFadden. Didn't he win the Mace Classic last year? I'm pretty sure. I think it was
Yeah, he
eight.
won one of them. I can't recall. I can't really remember what he won. But yeah, I do remember him winning one of them.
Yeah, I was
I
saying because
wasn't
last
there.
time I went, dude, they hauling out there.
Yeah, you definitely get some speed built up there. It's got really long straightaways, and the banking kind of helps get drive off the corners. Yeah, for a 3/8, it's a big 3/8, but you definitely get a lot of speed built up there.
I'm trying to think. When was I? I know a couple years ago when I had my Sunfires in 22, I went out there and raced there, and I was there a couple times when I think one of the compacts flipped, and I was actually coming down the front stretch. I think it was that Dryer, I think her name was, where she flipped, and I was like almost dead gone, like right there. I had to slam my brakes. I would have smoked her. She's like started flipping. I was like, whoa. That was one
Yeah,
of the craziest ones out there.
they had a few rollovers this year. Yeah, one mod that I can recall in qualifying, actually, I was just sitting there in lineup and they threw a red, and one of them hit the wall and rolled over right by the flag stand. But yeah, they have some rollovers, especially having sprints. They're gonna
Oh
roll
yeah.
over. And it's so banked there too.
Yeah.
Yeah, you launch your car off one of the corners, you're probably going to go for a ride. I know Owen Ranke had a really, really horrible flip. I mean,
Oh yeah. That's
it's
what
the
I
worst
heard.
one that I've seen by far there. Definitely glad he was okay out of that, but it was horrible. His throttle hung open going into turn one, and he launched it off the banking and rolled way out into the trees. And yeah,
Wow.
it could have been a lot worse than it was. So I'm definitely happy that he's okay and could walk away from that, because it was a nasty wreck. But yeah,
Oh yeah.
you just get so much speed built up there, and there's no wall to hold you in. So
Right.
like I said, when you go off the track, there's nothing you can do besides go for a ride.
Right. So what was your most proudest moment so far, as far as you came in the racing part of it?
My biggest highlight was winning Rookie of the Year last year. My first full season racing. I got Rookie of the Year in the street stock division up at Butler, and I'm pretty sure we won 2 heat races. The one heat race was a big highlight for me. I know it was just a heat race win, but I passed and beat a lot of fast cars, including Lee Hobbs, which is an iconic, street stock driver. He builds Hobbs chassis and stuff. And so that was pretty exciting, to be able to beat somebody like that my first year. But yeah, I'd say them are my biggest 2 highlights. Other than that, I'm still learning. I'm still, like last year, I was mid pack towards the front, top 5 car usually, in my street stock. We traveled to Oakshade once the last season, and I started last in my heat race and transferred in. I think I finished like 3rd in my heat race, and started deep in the feature and worked my way up to well inside the top 10. I was on the same straightaway as the leaders, and there was still a lot of laps left, and got spun out by somebody. Had to go to the back, and then got into a wreck, and the night didn't really end so well. But we had a fast car there, so that was pretty fun actually. To go to a different track, because the thing about it is Butler's rules for the street stocks. When I raced street stocks there, you were pretty much stuck there. You couldn't really go anywhere else, or
Right.
locally. But we kind of converted the car over, changed tires to the H500s from the M30s, put a different spoiler on, closed the hood scoop in, and obviously we passed tech so we could go race there. But yeah, it was a fun night when we went. Sucks we didn't quite finish where we wanted to, but yeah, as far as the highlights or my biggest achievements, I'd definitely say winning Rookie of the Year was probably the top of it. That was exciting,
Yeah, as far as rookie of the year, I mean that's something that I tried to get that one year, but I was like 2-3 points from the guy that actually got it the one year. I think it was back in 21 or 22, something around there, and I was 2 points behind the guy that actually got it because I missed a day I missed a week because we took off to Tennessee around June. So I ended up missing a week, so I ended up losing it by points. But it was tough. But it was like, man, I was so close.
Yeah, we had a rough year too when we raced at Butler. I lost a couple motors that year, and just dumb luck, I'm breaking stuff that I thought that I checked over throughout the week. And like the one day I was the very first car out on the track to qualify and didn't even get to the flag stand and broke a spindle going in the corner in qualifying.
Man.
Didn't even get to qualify, it's just dumb luck like that put me behind the whole night, just starting the back of the heat race, got to work my way up and try and race my way in or run through a B, and just getting in wrecks and, making my own mistakes as a driver because, it was all new to me, and I drive it in the corner too hard and spin out or just didn't drive like I do now, where you got to be a little more aggressive, and
Right.
kind of fill them gaps, if you will. But yeah, we struggled, but it was rewarding. It, obviously Rookie of the Year doesn't pay anything at all, but that was a huge accomplishment, to be able to get the plaque or trophy, I guess it was. And yeah, it was pretty cool. I got top 10 in points too. I think we got like 7th in points, 6th or 7th in points, as well. So yeah, it was a pretty good year. And then we figured we'd kind of switch over to mods this year.
There's my pictures.
Yeah.
I just got track pictures, but I didn't get anything like plaque. But we definitely saved those pictures because it's definitely for me to even get out there on the track accomplishment for me, as far as that goes. So
yeah, definitely. And I'm kind of in the same boat, if I didn't have my parents and grandparents and all my help and support that I have, I absolutely could not do what I'm doing, especially on the level that I'm doing with the car that I have and all the equipment that I have, without all of them, I couldn't do it. There's no way. I just simply couldn't afford it. There's just no possible way.
So I'm going to pause right there. We're going to be back at this commercial break. I got a little bit of a commercial thing to show you. We'll be back in about 35 seconds. See you in a little bit. All right, guys, welcome back. Host Dalton McVeigh here. We got Hunter Stafford here. So welcome back. So, anyways, as far as also, as we were talking about, the how you got the Rookie of the Year award and stuff like that. So was as far as that goes, did you as far as victory lanes, have you gotten those? As far as how many wins have you had?
I'm pretty sure I've only had 2 heat race wins. Um, yeah, I've got quite a few top fives in the A's. I had to run a B one night last season when in my street stock. Ended up second in that. Started pretty much in last and drove my way up to second. Um, but yeah, that's just about it. A lot of top threes and heat races and stuff. Um, but yeah, still haven't won it my first feature yet. So hopefully this year I can get that taken care of and yeah, just get some more heat race wins. We got a new car at the very end of this last racing season, 25 season. So yeah, I got to drive that a few times. So yeah, hopefully starting out this season, I can start out strong, and yeah, and be consistent, and get some wins at least. And this year on my bucket list, my goal this year is to get a feature win somewhere.
There you go. I would say I think I've came. Oh gosh, I think I came a couple of times where maybe 2 to 3 times this year where I came close to winning, but I ended up having some electrical issues, which kind of erased us from winning. So it's like I think what it was coming up to the final lap. Yeah, the throttle sensor on the electronic stuff on the Cobalt, whatever. It lost connection, and I literally come up there and final lap, and the throttle went to the floor, and the car just started sputtering. I was like, oh no, and I ended up losing it, man. Like that sucks, man.
Yeah, that does. Yeah, that's like last season. Well, 2 years ago, I should say now, 24 season, when I had my street stock, I was running second for a while in the street stock shootout, and I had a good car. I felt confident to win that night, and that's the night I end up losing my motor with, I don't know, 5
no.
laps to go, probably. I dropped a cylinder, and it just started sputtering, and I thought a plug wire fell off. I was looking at my gauges and stuff, and everything was fine. And I ran a lap or two, lost a spot. So I was back to like third then. And I was like, it's okay. As long as I can get a top 5, there's not many laps left. I'll just hang out and try and make it. And I was entering turn 1 and just went up in flames. And I was like,
no.
well, I guess it's more than a plug wire, So I pulled in, and yeah, we ended up hurting the motor. So that, it's just kind of the luck that I've had. And even this last season in the mod, it was horrible. It was just terrible. I couldn't catch a break. We'd try and adjust the car, and it didn't do what it should have done, and I end up losing a motor too, my main primary motor. I was just done. Like I just got so defeated this year. Going from last year, the season that we had, I got rookie of the year. I won some heat races. I qualified really well every time I went out for the most part. I was a good, always top 10 car in the A, always. Unless we broke or whatever, but top 5, top 10 car. And I got some confidence, my first full season. And then we go into this year, and it's just like, wow, this is just crazy. I went halfway through the season, like, it's okay, it's going to be fine. We'll pick back up, and it never happened. We constantly battled the car and just dumb luck. And yeah, it was just ridiculous. And then we end up losing that motor, and I was just done then. I didn't really stress too much about getting back out on the track, and we end up taking a few weeks off. And I actually just helped John Longenbarger out. I'm sure you know him or know of him.
Yeah, great guy.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I end up just kind of helping him out because he was leading the points for most of the season up there at Butler this year, and had a really good year up there. We converted his car over from Oakshade, the suspension and everything. completely different car. So yeah, he had a really good year. You know, I drove his car one day at Oakshade and hot laps and about wrecked it, to be honest with you. I could
Oh,
not drive it at all. That was when it was set up for Oakshade's rules. And then when we had test and tune at Butler this year, I talked him into letting me take it out and I could drive it. I was like, man, this thing's faster than my mod. So for him to be able to go from Oakshade, you know, he was good at Oakshade. You know, he won
oh
some
yeah, very
features in a
good.
lot of heat races there. He did good. And for him to go from Oakshade to Butler, a brand new track, racing with completely different people, a completely different car, which handled way different than what he was used to. He had a hell of a year. He did really
Oh
good.
yeah, definitely.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, because like we'll go in a little bit into that because I would say because like when he was at Oakshade, man, he was he led points over at Oakshade, or didn't he get track champion like 24, I think, or
No, he hasn't won a championship yet. I want to say last year that the last year that he raced at Oakshade, he was definitely inside the top 10 in points. I want to say he was sixth or seventh in points.
okay.
I could be wrong, but I'm pretty positive that's what it was. Definitely inside the top 10, but he hasn't won a championship yet. That's why we were, you know, so adamant on making sure the car was perfect or the best we possibly could make it this year at Butler when I wasn't racing. Um, you know, and we kind of put a lot of hands on deck. You know, Kevin Light, he's another big help with me and John. I actually keep my car at John's shop. That's where I run my car out of and use his shop to to work on my car, and I store it there and stuff like that. But Kevin's been a big help, you know, for both of our racing careers in the last year or two. He definitely helps us tremendously. And but yeah, when I blew that motor up this last year, you know, we really put our heads together and, you know, just made sure we could keep John's car up to par, you know, and try and get him that championship because it would have been his first one, you know. And
Oh
that would
yeah.
have been awesome for, you know, to go up to a track he's never been at, you know,
Yeah,
with a
yeah,
completely
yeah,
different car,
definitely.
under motored by quite a bit, honestly, you know,
Yeah.
and for him to win the championship would have been outstanding. But, you know, he finished his season very successful.
Oh
He
yeah,
won heat
definitely.
races, you know, he qualified well, he always finished good, you know, and he got second points, you know, so that was awesome. You know, he led the points most of the year, and that was pretty cool. You know, we went into it with absolutely no expectations at all. And he probably wouldn't race there if it wasn't a lot for me talking him into it, you know, because I knew I was going to race there. And I was like, hey, man, you should just race at Butler, you know, just come up there and experience a new track. Just check it out. You know, it pays a little more than where you've been racing, and just check it out, you know. So I talked him into it, and then he ended up leading points. And yeah, then it was a points game all year, you know. It takes the fun out of it, to be honest with you.
Oh
It
yeah.
really does, you know, racing for points. You go into it stressing, you know, instead of going there and just having no
Like hanging loose,
expectation.
you know, and hanging loose and having fun.
Yeah, exactly. You know, so that it was a lot of stress on all of us all season, you know, but you know, yeah, he had a good year, so I'm definitely happy
I'm
with
sure
that.
I'm sure old John's watching out there. I'm sure he's in here somewhere.
Yeah, he
I
probably is. I made sure I messaged him and told him that I was going on here to make sure he got on and watch. So,
was
but yeah,
saying because we're
I
live
definitely
on
got to say a
YouTube and
big, huge
Facebook.
thank you to him and Tammy, his wife, you know, for allowing me to keep my car there. And you know, they've helped me tremendously, and they definitely didn't have to at all. So I definitely got to say a big thank you to them, because they're a huge part of why I am where I am today, you know,
Right,
besides my
right.
parents and my grandparents, and obviously my best friend Nick too. He's a big help as well. But yeah, I definitely got to thank them. They've helped me a lot get to where I am.
So I know you mentioned that your grandparents and parents and stuff. Do you have a legacy behind getting started into the racing world kind of thing?
I do. So yeah, my dad, he raced for 18 or 19 years, I want to say. Somewhere around there. Um he got into it when he came into my mom's side of the family, which is my grandparents is on my mom's side. And he started racing back in, I want to say like 89 or 90, somewhere around there, 91ish. And so backtracking, we're from kind of northern Michigan area, so he raced up in Michigan at, a lot of them tracks up there, I-96, Merritt, Crystal, Cherry, Mount Pleasant, Hartford, a lot of them northern Michigan tracks. And we moved down to Union City, Michigan, and I can't remember, to be honest with you, but he raced at Butler for a couple years, raced at Oak Shade a little bit in a late model. And then it kind of got time to get new equipment. The car was wore out, motors were, getting tired and stuff. And my grandpa's kind of the type where he'd buy 3 of everything, so they never really had to buy extra parts. Well, once they got kind of around to price and everything and stuff, they just kind of decided to hang it up. My grandparents were retiring and stuff, and my parents and grandparents kind of had a discussion about my grandparents just enjoying their retirement and just ending their career with racing. So
Yeah.
they talked to me about it when he was done and asked if I wanted to race, and I just wasn't about it. I was playing ice hockey at the time and getting into bull riding and stuff like that, and I didn't have no interest in it then, and I kind of wish I did because I was younger then, and I'm sure I'd be a lot farther than where I am now in my racing career if I would have started at a younger age. But yeah, we went, a few years without anything to do with racing really. When we moved down here to Ohio, we've been down here now for, I'd say, probably 9 years, roughly.
Okay.
I could be wrong, but we moved down here and we were here for a while, and then we all went to Oakshade. Me and my family went to Oakshade one night and just watched, and then I met a guy at work that I worked with that raced at Oakshade, so I started helping him for a while, a little bit here and there, and then years went by, and I met John and Tammy through 4-H. Tammy was my daughter's 4-H leader for a year, and I just started helping John at Oakshade, and still had no interest in driving at all. I enjoyed being there. I enjoyed helping. I enjoyed being a part of a successful racing team, and that was always enough for me. That I never thought that I would be racing. So
Right.
I helped John, and he did good. He had a lot of other help too that got him to where he is today and being as successful as he is. But yeah, it was exciting to be a part of that team, and he ended up buying me a race car, long story short. And he's like, hey, like, it's just my appreciation for you helping me. Just see if you like it. Just see if you can do it, and we went to Oakshade one day and I was like, wow, I can do this, like I did pretty good. I ended up spinning out that night, I think. But I did pretty good. I was like, wow, I can do this. It's not as bad as I thought it would be, or as hard as I thought it would be. And
Right.
I raced, I don't know, a few times that year in that car, and I was helping John with his, and he was helping me with my car that we had there. And yeah, that's how we got started into the whole racing thing. But if it wasn't for that, I would probably still be helping him wrenching on his car and making sure that he was as successful as he could be. So that's
Yeah.
that's where it all started.
Awesome. I know I be getting the questions here a little bit, but I will bring up this one. Rhonda Stafford, she goes, "How did you decide on the mod you have now, and what's the plans for this coming up year?"
So the mod that we have now currently, so backtracking, the mod that we raced all this last season, we traded my street stock for this mod and raced it, and it definitely wasn't a deal we should have done. Long story short, we kind of got the short end of the stick and was told one thing and it was completely different. So that's a part of the reason why we chased the setup so bad on that car. But we knew we needed a different car, so we ended up we are in contact with Lightning Chassis, Dalton Smith,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I was kind of throwing around the idea with him back and forth about building a new car and stuff like that, and getting pricing here and there, and he had built a new car. And he's like, "Hey, I'm selling it. It's a Lightning house car." So my parents and grandparents and all of us came together and figured out something, and we worked out a deal with Dalton and ended up buying his car. So that's the car that we currently have is a Lightning. It's 2025 Lightning. So yeah, them guys down there are top notch. I'm sure a lot of people are like, "Who's Lightning?" But they're up and coming. They're going to be a big name someday. Definitely, they take pride in what they do, and their customer service is amazing. That's basically why we went with them and chose them as a chassis manufacturer to go with, because of their customer service. I can call up Dalton or message him anytime, and he gives me the feedback that I need. And starting out my racing career, that's what I need is a strong backbone, especially from somebody that built my car. They know what I need to do with it, in order
Right.
to make it better and be successful. So yeah, that's what we have now is a Lightning.
Okay. Awesome. And what was the plans for this year as far as that goes?
So this year we plan to travel around a little bit. Eldora's going to be my main focus. That's been kind of my dream since my dad has raced at Eldora a few times in the past. And I've went down there numerous times ever since I've been a little kid, watching the late models and sprint cars race down there. And I've always wanted to turn some laps down there. So now that we got a really good car this year and we got our motor program on point this year, that's our main focus this year is Eldora. Obviously they have a very short season down there, so we'll travel around a little bit, probably to Montpelier, and yeah, we might try out some new tracks this year too, but our main focus is going to be Eldora and Montpelier for this season 2026.
Okay. All right, guys. Well, we're going to cut off for a break, and this time it's going to be a 60-second break just to get a little bit of a break here, and then we'll be right back with a little bit more. See you in a minute.
I've got that lightning inside me, son of a god.
right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Host Walt McVeigh here. We have Hunk Stafford here. So we were talking about just his plans for the year and what I'm into the modified as far as that goes. So I guess another question to be is, I noticed you said you've been to Oakshade and you have raced a couple races there. So how did you like Oakshade as far as the track goes?
I like racing there, to be honest with you. I like the track surface. It changes a lot throughout the night. You never know what you're gonna get there. Um, so yeah, hopefully they can bring a couple mod shows there this year, and not just the Hell Tour. That would be awesome. I do plan to attend that this year. That's on my list, to attend Oakshade's Hell Tour this year. We didn't travel around much last year because I just wasn't confident in the car at all. But this year, yeah, I definitely feel confident in the car. And like I said, the motor program we got now is good. So I have confidence that we'll be competitive wherever we go this year. So yeah, I definitely intend to race there this year as many times as I can.
So just a question to kind of keep things going. Well, I had a couple. So the first one is, how do you handle pressure? Going to the racetrack on race day. Preparing to be on the racetrack. How do you handle the pressure before you get out there? Like for me, I get anxious, so I like to listen to music sometimes, kind of just get into my own setting and ready to get in that race car because it can get crazy.
Yeah, definitely. So, on my way there, I listen to some upbeat music, usually like this last season, I had my best friend Nick Kellogg was always with me. He always rode up there with me 98% of the time. So that helped, to keep my nerves calm. But yeah, when we get there, we unload and, my grandpa's always there. He always beats me to the track every weekend, so as soon as I see him, my nerves kind of calm down, and then my dad comes down, and that helps a lot. John was always there next to me every weekend. That's what keeps me calm is my support. The music on the way there helps. Nick helps. My family and all my support helps tremendously. And yeah, once it gets close to time, obviously I get nervous and start making laps in the trailer and around the car and make sure everything's good. But to be honest with you, once I get in there and put my helmet on and strap in, it all goes away. And then sitting in lineup, the nerves kind of come back. But when I pull out on the track, everything goes away. I have one focus, and I know it's me and my car out there. There's nobody else out there with me besides myself in the car, and
Right.
all the nerves go away, and I focus on what I need to do, and that's try to do the best that I possibly can every time I go out on that track, and just yeah, it's that. But yeah, that's what I do. I don't really have a routine or a ritual. I just jam out to some music on the way there and have a good time, and yeah, just try and keep my nerves calm with my family and friends and support.
Heck yeah. Nathan Weller goes, what about Butler? So I think that question came up when we were talking about when you were talking about how Oakshade handles. So give a little track insight of how you feel about Butler and how the car feels there.
A lot of times this last year, to be honest with you, and then towards the end of the night is one lane right around the tires, right around the bottom. You step out of line, you're getting freight train, and that gets frustrating a lot of times. That's how you end up in wrecks. You drive it in too deep or too hard and end up in somebody, and then you wad them all up, and it wasn't a good year all around, at all, especially at Butler. I didn't have a lot of fun there. I lost all my confidence as a driver, and it was frustrating. it was frustrating for my dad, you know, it was frustrating for John, it was frustrating for my grandpa and Nick, you know, we threw everything we knowledgeably know at the car, and it didn't matter because I could go out there and have a good car and move up 5 or 6 spots and get taken out or break something or couldn't pass. You know, it was just not a good year. But yeah, for the most part, Butler's pretty consistent. You know, like I told you earlier, it's hammered down pretty much wide open in qualifying throughout the heat races usually. And then towards the end of the night, it's pretty slick usually right around the tires. There was a couple nights where we had a lot of rain throughout the week, and it was hammered down pretty much all night. But then with that, you get a lot of character in the track, you know, and tear up a lot of equipment and stuff like that, you know, which as a track owner, you can only do so much. You can't control the
Oh,
weather, obviously, but
definitely.
you know, but yeah, it's that's kind of how Butler is, if on a racer standpoint, you know. It's fast to begin with and it slows down at the end of the night.
So, when you like, as far as like, so what do you like in the years to come? We're coming into our last few questions as far as this goes. Is years to come, like what would be your goal, like your long term goal in racing? Like, do you want to move up a stage more, or do you want to stay in the same, or where do you see yourself in 5 years as far as racing in the racing world?
Um, I'm content right now where I am. You know, obviously, I'd be content with racing a 4-cylinder that barely runs and drives. You know, because at the end of the day, that's all I could afford to
Right.
be able to go out on a track, probably. So I'm extremely thankful of what I have today. You know, I have basically a brand new car. I'm going to put a brand new motor in my car this year. I'll have another motor as well, you know, so I got a nice trailer, nice parts, you know, I got great support, you know, and I couldn't do it without my parents and grandparents. It's just, there's no other way to look at it other than that. So, yeah, and I'm content where I am right now. Obviously, I would like to race a late model eventually, but
Right.
I'm thankful and I'm not asking for any more, you know, than what I have now because I have good stuff, you know. I have good top of the line equipment and stuff, and my parents and grandparents don't have to do that, you know. I never asked them to, you know. That's something they wanted me to do because they obviously care about me, you know, and they want me to be successful in the things that I do. And ever
Right.
since I've grown up, anything that I've ever done, they've always supported me and made sure that I've had the best that I could have to be as successful as I could be in whatever I've done. As far as, you know, the bull riding and playing hockey, you know, and now racing, you know. So they're my biggest supporters through and through, you know, and I can't thank all of them enough for everything they've done to get me to where I am today. But yeah, my in 5 years, that would be cool to at least hot lap a late model somewhere, you know, if not have our own.
So I guess another question popped up from Nathan Weller. He says, "Are you done racing at Butler this season, or are you wanting to go somewhere else?"
Yeah, to be honest with you, I'm kind of gonna go elsewhere. I think this year, we might hit Butler for 1 or 2 races on their special shows this year for the money races. But yeah, just my plans are to race Eldora this year and Montpelier. I like the way they run things down there, and you know, it's a lot like Butler. You know, the owner down there has put a lot of time and effort into that place. I like the racing surface down there. I enjoy racing with different people as well. Instead of racing with the same people every weekend, you know, it's every single weekend you're racing with the exact same people, you know. And um, but yeah, I want to travel around. You know, I can't get any better racing with the same people every single weekend. You know.
Right.
So yeah, just racing on different track surfaces and racing with different people only helped me get better in the end of everything.
So I can't remember if we did talk about a couple different tracks, but what was all the tracks you've been to? Like as far as the tracks you've been to, as far as racing, like mod or your street stock.
So I've raced both cars at each track. I've raced my street stock at Kokomo, Butler, Montpelier, and Oakshade. And then I've raced my mod as well at both, or well, not both, at all the same tracks, Kokomo, Butler, Montpelier, and Oakshade as well. But yeah, I want to travel more. I want to go up to Michigan and race up there at Hartford. My dad had some track championships up there and won many races up there. So that's kind of what I'm trying to do this year is kind of travel around and race where my dad's raced. That's just kind of like a rewarding feeling to me to be able to say, oh yeah, cool, my dad's raced here and I have too, that's kind of cool to me, so that's my goal this year. Like I said, Eldora only races I think 5 or 6 races. You race basically once a month, down there, and obviously they may rain out here and there, so when we're not racing there, I plan to travel around and check out some new tracks.
Yeah. So yeah, just if anyone has any more questions, I'm going to end up with this last question here, and then we're going to talk a little bit about the Chili Bowl that just passed, and then have a video at the end. And then if you had any more questions, we could answer them a little bit more at the end also. So one more question is your sponsors for last year and going into this year.
Yeah, so my sponsors last year, definitely D&J Manufacturing. Their family, they're up in Muskegon, Michigan. They have a machining shop up there, and they've helped me tremendously throughout my racing career. Ever since I started, they've been on board. DCR Graphics, Dale Cole, he does good work. Since I've started, he's done my wraps for me. I highly recommend him. A&I Construction, they're up there in Quincy, kind of up by Butler. And then Vibe Cannabis out of Quincy, they came on board this last year and sponsored us. So I got to thank them as well. And then Can Do Property Management, he does landscaping and stuff like that. And but yeah, other than them are my main sponsors. And then I've had Nick and Brittany Kellogg. They've helped me tremendously. John and Tammy, my mom and dad, my grandma and grandpa, Julie Taylor. We kind of did a little pit pass thing just to buy pit passes, cheap sponsorship. So Julie Taylor, Brenda and Larry, which Brenda's my aunt. And then Kelly Sokolowski, she sponsored us as well this year. So yeah, without all them people, I definitely wouldn't be where I am today in my racing program. So I thank you all for that.
Definitely. I would say DCR, as you mentioned, he done my wrap on my car too, and he great job. Great guy. So
definitely. Yeah, I highly recommend him. He's extremely fair price, cheapest that I know of anybody.
Oh yeah, definitely for wraps all day long.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, he does a good job. Anytime I tell him, hey, can you do this or do that, he makes sure he gets it done. And he's good price and he does it in a timely fashion. So you definitely can't go wrong with going with him. With the prices and quality of work that you get.
All right, 1 second here. We're going to bring up the results for the Chili Bowl here. So I mentioned the Chili Bowl. So it looks like at Green Flag, looks like McIntosh clear on the inside lane, turn 2. Danny holds second. 24 to go. Larson works on the outside of Danner. He knocks the cushion. Larson to the second. 21 to go. Larson pulls even with the leader as they approach the lap traffic. Larson clears them via outside lane. 13 to go. Larson tangles with lap traffic. Lap around caution. Larson has no damage. Green, Larson launches from the top. He clears 5-car length into the turn 1. Danner and McIntosh for the second turn 1. McIntosh slides into back. 12 to go. Caution for debris and a green flag. Larson jumps as they fight for second behind Danner. Slides to clear McIntosh for second. 5 to go. Larson leads Danner by just a car length, and they both go to the cushion. And then Kyle Larson holds him off and takes the win Monday night at Chili Bowl Nationals. So, I mean, what's your insights as far as the Chili Bowl? I mean, for what you like? No, I mean, I've only seen like highlights and stuff. Cause I mean, I've watched it here and there the last few years.
Oh yeah, I've definitely been watching it here and there. I actually watched a lot of the soup races today. Darren Nida blew my mind today. Don't get me wrong, he caught a couple lucky breaks in a couple of them soup races, but that kid drove today. He earned a lot of his positions that he made, so that was pretty cool to see a local kid, to race with the best. Obviously he don't race them often. Obviously he's in his 410 and stuff, but yeah, it was pretty impressive to see him move up today. And I had to shut it off and get on here, so I don't know how far he's made it or if he's still going, but last I remember he was in like the I main or something. But yeah, I think he was like 7 or 8 features today that he's moved up in, so that was pretty cool. But I gotta pull for Ricky Thornton, man. That dude can drive just about anything. Don't get me wrong, I like Kyle Larson. He can drive anything he's into, but I don't know, man. I'm a big, huge Ricky Thornton fan, and hopefully he can get it done later today, as long as he makes it through all his prior races to making it into tonight's big show. I definitely got confidence that he'll be up there at the end of it. But Larson and Bell, obviously you can't count him out, and all them guys, they'll all be there. So I'm definitely looking forward to watching that later tonight.
Oh yeah, I would say because like Kyle Larson, I mean, gosh, he went from NASCAR late model 410 sprint. Now he's a midget driver. I mean, he goes, he's all over.
IndyCar, you can't count that out. That's crazy, obviously they go fast in the NASCAR, but them IndyCars are crazy speed wise.
They don't even have no daggone protection for the driver. Like, it seems like it's like sticking up air.
Yeah, and they're going over 200 miles an hour. It's crazy. It's nuts. So yeah, that guy can drive just about anything. Yeah. Him and Ricky, man, they both impress me every time they're on the track, no matter what they're in. They're definitely good.
But I was gonna say, it's like with it going into the Chili Bowl. I mean, last year, there's a guy's name that flies around quite a bit, and I think it's Sammy Swinell.
Yeah, he was doing good, man.
Pretty good legend out there.
He was doing pretty good. He rolled over earlier this week. He just kind of swung it out too wide down the one of the straightaways and hit the wall and end up rolling over. But he raced, I don't know, a couple of them soup races today, and then he got into the wall again. I was watching it.
Oh, gosh.
He got up into the wall again with the right front and broke a shock, and he made it 1 or 2 laps and ended up going in the corner, and the shock just completely gave out, and the car buried in on the right front. He actually rolled again earlier today.
Wow.
He's done for the week and weekend. So yeah, that kind of sucked to see. Old Sammy, he can still drive, he's like 70 some years old, but he can definitely drive. He worked his way up in them soup races today. But yeah, that's it'll be interesting later tonight. You never know who's gonna win with them cars, on such a small track. They're so maneuverable that anything can happen. And what is it, 50 or 55 laps, I think, tonight for the A-Main?
Might be, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's something quite a bit, 50 or 55 laps. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure last time.
Could you imagine doing that much laps in your mod or three stock, 55, 60 laps?
That'd be a lot, man. I know this last season we were down to Montpelier, we went green to checkered, and I was wore out when I came in. I was like, holy crap, like my arms hurt and I was out of breath, but yeah, 50 laps, that'd be quite a bit, that'd be wild.
So what we're gonna do is we're gonna cut off for a little bit. It's gonna be a 5-minute commercial because we're going to turn on the highlights from the Chili Bowl, and we can talk about it a little bit, I guess. And then we do have a couple. It looks like one more question that we can go over when we come back, and then that'll be our final commercial break of the episode. Right. I'm gonna cut us off and put the video on, and we're gonna take a look at the Chili Bowl.
CJ Leary for Alex Bowman Racing and Ashton Torgerson for KKM. We're green on Hasty Bay qualifying night.
Leary fired off the bottom and quickly to the top, wasting no time at all as it's a NOS energy drink sandwich around Ashton Torgerson.
Spencer Baston on the bottom, Chris Wyndham up top, Ryan Burnell just following his two NOS teammates through the hole there, down on the low side as that was Tanner Thorson looking to make it 3 wide. Meanwhile, to the outside, Ashton Torgerson trying to stop the bleeding from the front row. He's all the way back to 5th.
Top 5 is a NOS energy drink party as those 3 cars are trying to hunt down your race leader, CJ Leary, who's starting to check out on this field.
CJ Leary looking strong. Wow, look at all the NOS up front. Crack one open, whether it's zero sugar or something else. You got all the flavors. Down on the low side, Burnell trying to make the move on Baston.
Christopher Bell already up 3 positions from the outside of the 4th row. Here he comes in that pristine auction number 21 CB. But at the same time, it's a NOS party just ahead. You've got Ryan Burnell now leading the charge over Baston and Chris Wyndham.
Guys, it won't be long before we're all entering above the cushion, especially in turn 1. CJ Leary's already doing it, and that's how he's driving away from these guys. It will not be long before we enter above the cushion in 3 and 4 also.
We'll see who learns what CJ Leary has already figured out as everybody on the top. Christopher Bell pounds the cushion, jumps over it, loses a spot, but keeps it on all 4s. But Kyle Cummins continues to be on the march. Christopher Bell now entering the chat as well as he parks it right on Big Daddy's left front.
Wyndham came right back after Cummins in that corner as Bell trying to get down to the bottom and find some room to go. And there's something down there, Clinton.
There's Bell making up a really good time. That slider line's not bad. He's making up a lot of ground. Back to the bottom side of 3 and 4. Let's see if he closes in on Cummins.
Coming off the corner, he had to get it a little tip. He settled it back down. Here's the in car from Christopher Bell. Slides, doesn't quite get there coming through the turn.
Negotiating that last handful of turns, Ryan Burnell 4 up above the cushion. Ryan Burnell closing in on CJ Leary, and your battle will be for the lead here in a minute with 24 still to go, or 27 to go.
He's bringing Baston with him, guys. Baston is right in on this battle. You see him coming in on the screen as Burnell to within a car length and a half. They enter one, Leary getting clear lap traffic for a second.
If anyone knows cowboy up, big cushions and getting after it, it's going to be the kid from California and Ryan Burnell. He's absolutely hammering that thing in 3 and 4, but CJ just a little bit smoother and able to create a gap.
Boy, they're just bouncing off a ledge as Baston firing a slider. Almost got their little contact coming out of 2. It's Baston a line lower than Burnell this time in 3 and 4, coming after second place.
Leary got a lot of experience entering above the cushion. So many laps at the Kokomo Speedway. Right now he's mastering it and absolutely pulling away as Chaos is right in front of your leader, CJ Leary.
Yeah, Clint, they were 3 wide coming off at turn number 4. Leary just trying to find a lane, but here comes Ryan Burnell in that battle up front. Burnell now just about a car length there. He's going to peek his nose to the inside. CJ Leary up above the cushion. Ryan Burnell to the top spot.
it. 7 laps to go this time by Ryan Burnell to the top spot. Leary, 2. We got one around in corner number 4.
Right in front of the leaders as they come by, that is Trevor Klein, who transferred up from the B main. He's not going to go all the way up. Spencer Baston will from 3rd as we're going to go back to green with 7 laps to go.
He went slow to the restart, came in and managed to avoid it in 1 and 2, but 3 and 4 could be a different question. He'll get up above it. There's the cross under. Almost a diamond line off the corners. Look out, big problems for Cummins.
Baston with the big bomb on Leary. That's going to bring Bell into the picture.
Christopher Bell watching this battle for second as Leary trying to fight for his life for a lock-in spot as they come across the stripe. It's going to be 5 laps to go.
All the while, one on its roof, and we're going to go yellow. Onto the side, we got one over in the corner.
We're about to find out how this goes with 5 laps to go. Bernal leads the field. They stack up behind CJ Leary, and so Burnell's able to get away. Leary having fits now with Spencer Baston as Christopher Bell pulls away in second.
It's a worst-case scenario there for CJ Leary. You've now given up second. They're all over the place behind you. You're just hoping somebody wrecked before that lap was over, and it didn't happen.
Slider line by Christopher Bell is really good right there. He's going to come down, stick the bottom of turn 4. Bernal's trying to do that turn down, but he's hanging himself out on turn 4.
Got caught in the slick. Bell to the lead. Here they go with 3 laps to go. Brian Burnell's front nose and Christopher Bell to the point. As they come around, it'll be 2 to go.
Christopher Bell into the lead. 2 laps left for C-Bell. As he'll roll down the straightaway, open it up over Burnell. He needs to hang on now as Leary coming back for the final transfer.
The fight for CJ Leary is there on the bottom as Burnell jumps the cushion again. White flag is out for Christopher Bell. Trying to tie Kyle Larson with a 9th preliminary win. He streaks down the back straightaway. It has been near perfect for Christopher Bell this week, and in his own equipment, Bell wins Thursday night at the Chili Bowl.
Leary is your final lock-in. CJ Leary makes the Saturday show in another Donnybrook of an A main event here at the Chili Bowl Nationals.
Drinking water.
So it looks like the well, one second, let me get everything set up here. So yeah, it looks like that was one of the prelim nights. So it looks like, whoops, hold on. Yeah, my phone also. So I'm kind of paying attention to the Facebook stuff. But yeah, so it does look like though that it was one of the prelim nights. But Christopher Bell, Baston, all them guys, I mean, those guys are big names too.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, you got Justin Grant, Thomas Meserol,
Justin
Ricky
Leary,
Thornton. Yeah, Leary, Logan Seavey. There's a lot of them. Tanner Thorson. There's a bunch of them that are heavy hitters in that class, anyways.
There was some good racing between Bell and Thorson and Baston. That video right there, man, they were.
Yeah, that's how last year was too with Bell and Larson. I definitely thought Larson was gonna hold him off, but man, he couldn't get it done, But yeah, that was a good race watching them last year. Larson was right up on the wall and stuff. That was crazy.
Oh yeah, definitely. Sorry, I had to close my door. All right, but yeah, other than that, other than that, I think we're pretty good for our episode. I think it went pretty well.
Yeah, I do too. Definitely.
Thank you guys for the big introduction to 26 and all the viewers. Like, we have well over 13, 14 on Facebook alone, and then we had 7 or 8 on YouTube. So we were well over probably good 20, 25 people. That just grew our audience. Usually we don't have that much like watching live, so we grew our audience. So
yeah, that's good, man. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, if you have any in the future, definitely let me know and reach out, and before I get off here, again, I want to thank all my sponsors and stuff, the Can Do Property Management, Vibe Cannabis, A&I Construction, DCR Graphics, D&J Manufacturing, obviously my parents and grandparents, Nick and Brittany Kellogg, John and Tammy, and without all you guys, I definitely couldn't do what I am doing today.
But all right, guys. Thank you guys for joining, and we will catch you guys next time.
All righty. Thank you.
Have a good day, man.